Hello, this is Growhow. Today we're going to talk about Kentucky bluegrass and taking care of it in the fall and in the late season. Hello, this is Alex. If you're new to Growhow, but if you like gardening, if you like horticulture, if you like homesteading, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell right next to it, and you'll get notifications of all the great videos we've got coming up. Today we're talking about turfgrass. Now, turfgrass isn't my favorite thing in the world. I much prefer a lot of other things: flowers, trees, shrubs, something that feeds bees. I like those things. But the reality is, we live in a culture that's dominated by, well, bluegrass. And so, if you're going to be gardening anywhere in North America, you really have to expect that there's going to be some sort of turf. Now, in my neck of the woods, the predominant turf is bluegrass. We do have some fescue. The treatment ends up being largely the same, however. So, for most of the northern part of the United States, up on into Canada, bluegrass with some fescue is really going to be the most common grasses that you're going to have an opportunity to work with. Now, late in the season, we tend to kind of forget our gardening and we let it go, and it's, I don't want to do anything. It was hot, it was a long summer, I just want to relax. And I feel that too. But what you do this time of year is some of the most vital stuff that you're going to do with your bluegrass to establish a good season. That's not to say it's the most important thing overall, but if you want to start out really strong with your turf grass and not have a lot of problems, what you do in the fall is going to have a big effect in the spring. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to do a fall fertilization. Now, I'm not going to give you numbers on this because the numbers are going to depend on where you're located. It's going to depend on how you take care of your turf. It's going to depend on what your soil tests at. My father-in-law's, I've been working with him on his turf this year, and he mulch mows. Well, I've been mulch mowing, but we've mulch mowed that for a number of years now, so we need less nitrogen than is generally recommended. We need less nitrogen than what's generally recommended by the extension office. This year I went ahead and had a soil test. They don't test for nitrogen unless you pay a lot of money for that, because usually they've got pretty good guesstimates. Again, if you're doing mulch mowing like I've been doing, you're going to go lower than that. In general, I tend to go lower than recommended on my nitrogen amounts. Nitrogen can leach into your soil water, it can run off. There's a lot of things that can happen with nitrogen. And while it definitely makes for a lusher, greener plant, and in the case of annual flowers, you'll even get more color with a good nitrogen content, I tend to go lower than that. On the other hand, we did test low on phosphorus. In our state, we have very high, medium. I don't know what medium's listed as, but and low is generally how they categorize it. There might be a very low, but I haven't actually seen that yet in things that have been tested. So I'm going to need more phosphorus. Potassium is good. Micronutrients were not tested in this test. I could have gotten that for more money, but I also know that the micronutrients in Utah soils are usually very abundant. I don't need magnesium, manganese, or anything like that. Iron will oftentimes help with the lawn. And in lawn, I can get away with the cheaper iron. I don't have to use the high grade iron chelate for a lawn. I don't know how much it really helps if you have an otherwise healthy lawn, but that's often included in your typical lawn fertilizers. So, you know, just keep an eye on that. So, fertilization, that's going to establish a good basis for next year's growth. There is going to be uptake in nutrients through the winter. Bluegrass does not go fully dormant in the winter. It's not going to be growing when there's snow and ice on it, but as soon as you get up really any bit above freezing and get some sunlight, it's going to grow. So get your fertilization down. Again, that's going to depend on where you are. I can't tell you exactly what to do. Getting a soil test is not a bad idea. That gives you a chance to prep the soil for next year. That's what I did at my father-in-law's. get an aeration. Now, we typically aerate in the spring, and that's a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing to do, but we can also get a winter aeration. And this is really cool because we, here in Utah, this is when we get most of our water. And so if we have good water permeability into the soil, good soil permeability for the water, then that water is going to be there for my lawn to use rather than running off to the street or the gutter or onto a driveway. That's still going to happen to an extent, but if I have good porous soil, I can use most of that in the lawn rather than having it run off, especially when the ground is not solid, frozen. So getting an aeration is really important. Watering. I generally like cutting off my water in mid to late September. Certainly by October, I don't really want a lot of water. Now, if it's a dry year and it's a hot year, I may have to make an exception for that. My father-in-law just felt this crazy desire to have a lot of water on his lawn. Didn't want it to go brown, I guess. But in reality, I want the lawn going dormant. I want it to say, hey, it's time to shut down before all the snows and stuff come. I don't want really wet, green, lush growing stuff to get hit with the snowstorm if I can avoid it. It's going to be healthier. I won't get the same diseases. Also, if you cut off the water, the plant goes, I need water. And it starts creating deeper roots. And deeper roots in turf grass is one of the best things you can do for it. It'll be more drought resistant. It'll be more disease resistant. It'll support the top growth without having to micromanage everything. People talk about wanting to have a low care garden or a low care lawn, and one of the best ways to do that is just get good deep roots. You'll have less fertilization that you have to do. You'll have better top growth. You'll have a healthier plant that resists disease, bugs, and infections. So get those deep roots in the fall. Cut off your water. You're going to have brown out a little bit earlier, but honestly, you're going into the dormant season anyway. You're just helping it along the way. So cut back on that water. And then the last thing I do before it gets really cold, or that I try to do, is I cut my lawn short. I don't want a lot of long, turf grass in the winter, because that's, again, when you start getting your diseases. That mats down. It's hard to mow in the spring. Again, you're going to get growth during the winter. And so it may be this long now, but the end of the winter, when it's time to start mowing, it's going to be even longer. So my father-in-law's, I haven't done this at my place yet. Got to get it done the next week. But my father-in-law's, I mowed everything down to 2 inches. Now there's 2 times I mow it down to 2 inches. The fall and the spring. I do it in the spring because I'm mostly removing the grass leaves that were dead in the winter. In the fall, I'm eliminating a lot of those dead leaves in the winter so that I just don't have this buildup of problems that can happen. It'll allow my stuff to dry out quicker. It'll allow there'll be less leaves to get diseased. You won't have that folding over. I know the first year I moved here, my first mow in the spring, the lawn was at least 5 inches long, and that's because they didn't take care of it. And certainly, that didn't improve the situation for the lawn. Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of it all, but if I'm going to have it, and I had to mow it twice, and I still didn't. It was midsummer before I got it looking half decent again. Not that I do a lot of lawn work here, I just don't. But I mean, it was all folded over. So get that mowing done now. Right now it's, what is it, the 12th of October, and it's a really good time to get that really short mow. If you have a really smooth lawn, you can go under 2.5 inches. I currently don't take care of any lawns, 2 inches. I don't take care of any lawns that I could get lower than 2 inches just because they're so lumpy currently. But if you can get it even shorter, that's great. Again, this is the 1 or 2 times in the year where I really, really, really like that short lawn. It just saves so many problems, cuts back on my work in the spring so much. Something for you to think about. And again, remember that this has got to be probably repeated a lot. Your lawn's going dormant anyway if you're in the northern part of the United States. It wants to shut down. It wants to be done for the year and move on. Go ahead and let it. Go ahead and let it, and that dormancy plus forcing the deeper roots is going to be worth it next year. And I invite you to try it and see what happens. Again, this year it's a little bit too late to stop watering. My water turns off in a couple days regardless, so I'm not going to, But if you can stop watering late September, certainly don't water in October, you're just going to do better off. Those are some things to think about. I should also mention with the fertilizer, if you get a slow release, you're going to be happier with that as well. There's very few things where I need a full on, bang right up front. Slow release is really a blessing. There's a lot of turf fertilizers now that are slow release. Our local lawn and garden store, well, farm store actually, IFA, Intermountain Farmers, our local farm store sells a really good line of fertilizers for that. They're slow release. So thank you for watching. Please, if you're new to the channel or if you liked what you saw today, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it. And I look forward to talking with you later. I've got some great stuff planned for later on in the week. Y'all have a good day. Manana.